I told you can't trust these. Now, Puffy done killed Tupac, man.
And went on stage last year and said this.
Maybe I said because he got Tupac.
You know, and I know, that everyone believes that Diddy was involved in both these shootings and had a direct involvement in your brother's death. That is what the streets have said for 27 years. That's why 50 Cent said it. That's why Eminem has said similar stuff. Would you be comfortable saying that you believe Diddy had nothing to do with it?
No, I wouldn't be comfortable saying that because I don't know. If you look at all the theories, the theory involving him is quite high on the list.
John, any comments? Any comments on the trial so far? Any opening statements?
He's having his day.
He's having his day?
He's having his day. We trust the justice system.
Thank you, sir.
Netflix's latest documentary series delivers a bold and compelling examination of Tupac Shakur's life and untimely death, reigniting debates that have lingered for decades. Rather than making direct accusations, the series focuses on the cultural climate, escalating tensions, and public speculation surrounding music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. By revisiting unresolved questions with sharper context and fresh detail, the documentary offers a powerful new perspective on one of hip-hop's most enduring and controversial mysteries.
True. Yeah. So we don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to even go there, with all due respect. But I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because you listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, "Yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac?" But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah. No, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed about.
Sean Combs. The Reckoning traces Diddy's rise to becoming one of hip-hop's most powerful figures, highlighting the success that shaped his legacy long before recent legal controversies. The series explores his historically tense relationship with Tupac Shakur, a rivalry that Tupac's cousin William LaShawn recalls as increasingly hostile. Set against the height of the East Coast-West Coast feud, interviewees describe intense pressure, fierce competition, and shifting loyalties that fueled decades of rumors and speculation. This context reopens long-standing conversations about the chaos leading up to Tupac's 1996 killing in Las Vegas.
From the former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burroughs, who alleged during this time, Diddy had him hiring a whole bunch of people and getting cars to drive to Las Vegas. And he is now very curious into why Diddy wanted to do this. And he said, in his opinion, he now believes that Diddy was behind taking...
Williams spoke candidly about the tension, describing it as sharp, deep-rooted, and impossible to ignore. He suggested that Diddy may have felt threatened by Tupac's growing influence and independence. Rather than assigning blame, William urged viewers to reconsider the broader context of the 1994 New York shooting, emphasizing how the chaos of the era made clarity difficult. Music insider Gene Deal echoed similar sentiments, noting that the competitive pressure between the two artists was immense and weighed heavily on Diddy, adding another layer to an already volatile chapter in hip-hop history.
And change Biggs and Bad Boy in image. I get around, talked about how fly you was, how many girls you mess with, how many cars you drive, how much money you got, what you willing to do. He took his image. Pac was the first one on the scene wearing Versace shirts. He went and got the same Versace shirts Pac had. Which, all right, some dudes would do that. You would never catch me wearing something else, something that somebody else got. He was knocking down all the women that he thought Pac was knocking down. And what I mean is having sex with them. Why would you want to have sex with women you know for sure a dude that was once cool with you?
Expanding on Williams' remarks, Tupac's brother Mopreme Shakur expressed his belief that the circumstances surrounding Tupac's death still demand serious examination. He argues that every angle, from the cultural climate to the individuals connected to that turbulent period, must be revisited for the full truth to emerge.
The Vegas PD is going to take this case because Keefe D is people that he name dropped that you want to see if they're going to investigate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm curious to see how they plan to deal with the case, because he, in his own admissions, mentions other people. You know, are they going to say what happened to these people? Yes, Puffy being one of them. I don't know where that's going to lead, but I do believe there were accomplices, and I don't think all of them have been looked at. So, you know, because over the years, you know, it's a lot of years, you know, amongst the family, we talk, we want to figure it out too. We thinking certain things too. So, you know, we're waiting to see if we can trust this process. I feel like it's bigger because I haven't heard anything about that part of the story from the prosecutor's office. I haven't heard anything about Puffy from the prosecutor's office, even though Keefe D implicates him on these videos that they claim they're using to indict him. Even you got a Crip affiliate from somewhere, but you still not gonna talk about the guy that he mentions by name on the thing. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's exhausting. You know, or you know, I'm waiting to see how far they go, because that's what everybody's talking about. That's what everybody's talking about. What about Puffy? You know, so it would be weird that the prosecutor's office wouldn't know and address it. That's why I don't know whether to trust this shit or not.
Mopreem later revealed that during Tupac's final moments, it appeared his brother was trying to say something meaningful. That haunting memory, he explained, continues to fuel his determination to uncover the truth behind what really happened.
Condition, because you got so many conflicting stories, right? You got some people that say that, you know, Tupac was moving in the hospital, he was, you know, talking in the hospital, but you being there, from your point of view, how was Tupac condition?
By the time I got there, remember I was coming from LA, so by the time I got there, he had tubes in his throat, in his nose, in his mouth. So he ain't talk to me, not verbally. He was conscious. He was trying to talk. He did want to talk, but he didn't actually verbalize any words. Always, you know, that's one of my, going to be one of the biggest mysteries in my life, because he was trying to tell me something. He was trying so hard. He was shaking the bed. He was looking at me, you know, with his big old eyes, you know, and I know he was trying to tell me something, but I don't know.
Something else I want to ask you, because I think it would be appropriate before we get off the Vegas thing, last thing, because I know I did an interview with Napoleon, and they all gave me their reasons why Afeni pulled the plug because of his condition, but I mean, it would be more appropriate since you was his brother. Afeni, her decision to pull the plug on him, from your point of view, what made her pull the plug? Respectfully.
Because he had already flatlined a couple of times. And she didn't want him to keep going through that. I think it was like twice before she, you know, let him go. And that's reasonable. You know what I mean? When I was, you know, when I found out, you know.
Former Bad Boy executive Kirk Burroughs reflected that the friction between Tupac and Diddy may have influenced the chaos of the era more than he initially realized. William echoed this view, explaining that tensions escalated as Diddy pushed Biggie's rapidly rising career while Tupac pursued his own distinct vision. From William's perspective, Diddy may have hoped for a closer creative alliance, but their diverging goals created a competitive backdrop that intensified the strain. This atmosphere culminated in Tupac's 1994 visit to Quad Studios, where he was ambushed and seriously injured. Although Diddy, Biggie, and others were reportedly in the building, authorities never connected them to the attack. Tupac's later public doubts, however, kept speculation alive for years. Diddy consistently denied involvement, while Gene Deal suggested the incident reflected the intense rivalries and volatile energy of the time.
Tupac was going to get robbed at Quad Studios? Well, I don't think I'm not going to say he knew exactly he was going to get robbed, but he knew he was going to get dealt with. Because he was up there with Andre Harrell, and he was with Jimmy Henchman. And even though I think Pac may have owed Jimmy some money, or he was being disrespectful with Jimmy, and Jimmy ain't the type of dude that you was going to be disrespectful for, because he had some real wolves. And Jimmy was about it himself. You know what I mean? So now, in that essence, Puff is up there in the office with him. They know they about to deal with Pac, you know what I'm saying? I don't know the extent that Jimmy told him what they was going to do to Pac, or he's going to get dealt with or whatever like that. But I know Puff had a...
In 2011, Dexter Isaac publicly claimed responsibility for the Quad Studios shooting, alleging he acted under instructions from a music industry figure present that night. While his statements added another layer to the narrative, they remain part of a broader mix of claims, testimonies, and speculation that continue to surround the event, underscoring its deeply disputed nature.
You know that he had another bracelet that was like a bicycle chain with charms on it, right? I was gonna say that, all right? He had a diamond chain on with the chain with diamonds at each length going through it, right? He had a big stone on the diamond ring and a smaller stone, one for $35,000 and the one for $20,000, all right? So even Stretch that did this shit, I took his bracelet too, and changed it and put my man's name on it and took off the name on it. So motherfuckers claiming that this even
so hold on, homie.
Claim that he was Tupac's stepdaddy wrote me and wanted me to have my people meet him and give him back the chain and shit, talking about some redemption shit. You know, them niggas ain't
so hold on, hey Dex. So that day that happened, November 30th, 1994, it wasn't just Tupac and Freddie Nichols. Stretch was with them too?
Stretch was with them too, yeah. Stretch set the whole shit up. He was in cahoots. He was giving us play-by-play where they was at. On the way there, he was in communication with Jimmy and shit. You know, Jimmy promised him two big eggs and shit.
Wow, so he sold Pac out for a quarter brick, basically.
Basically, yeah.
And
Killboy too.
Wow. Yeah.
Jimmy Henchman firmly rejected any claims linking him to the Quad Studios attack, insisting he had no involvement whatsoever. His denial adds yet another dimension to the conflicting accounts, reinforcing how much of this chapter in hip-hop history remains unresolved.
There was a big frame picture, photograph on one of your walls, and it had Tupac on it wearing a Henchman Entertainment t-shirt. Now, a few years ago, there was a guy named Dexter Isaac that came forward who claimed that you were connected to the Tupac shooting. Do you have anything to say about that?
No, 100%. I've never ducked from answering any Tupac questions. I could understand if I don't know how Quad Studio morphed into, like I was in Vegas and was part of the shooters that actually ended in his demise. And let me say, me and Tupac were friends. And me and him were friends. I had nothing against Tupac. I liked him. He was younger than me. I'm sure that he looked up to me. There's many moments that me and Pac had that were very intimate, where he's talked to me about things that he was afraid of or things that he loved to do, and all of those kind of things. Here it is, you have a prosecutor and you have a guy who's in jail for life. When they pulled Dexter down to interview him in regards to what he knew about me and Tupac and so on and so forth, I have no doubt at this point that Dexter probably was the guy or one of the assailants on Tupac. But Dexter's story just doesn't make sense. Dexter tells a story that I wanted a ring for my fiance, and so I tell him to get the diamond ring from Tupac so I can give it to my fiance, and so on and so forth. He tells this magical story. The only person that can believe such a story is Todd Kaminsky, who was the prosecutor who was trying to make something out of
For his part, Jimmy Henchman emphatically denied any role in the Quad Studios shooting, asserting he had no ties to the incident at all. His stance contributes to the maze of competing narratives that continue to surround one of hip-hop's most debated moments.
Questions.
Make it clear, man, when Puffy came to LA, you used to give him protection, right? From the Southside Crips because he was scared of Suge Knight?
It speaks for itself, my brother. He was playing chess, and I guess we was playing checkers, cuz.
So he was really scared of Suge Knight like that, yo?
That's what it looked. That's what it sounded like, yeah.
Gene Deal recalled feeling terrified as tensions escalated, noting that the feud surrounding Tupac intensified after the release of Hit 'Em Up. He described the environment as volatile and unpredictable, with conversations reflecting immense pressure and high stakes. The documentary uses these recollections to illustrate just how competitive and dangerous the hip-hop world had become during that era.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so there's Keefe D claims that there is this ongoing conversation. It happens on 3 different occasions, but most specifically when he and Puffy are at this place called Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset. And they're there. Things have spiraled out of control. Puffy's really concerned about, the welfare is his safety. And he tells Keefe D, man, I just need you to take care of this situation with Suge and Tupac. It's out of control. Tupac's on vinyl talking about killing all of our kids when they grow up. And, it's just become this really serious conflict. And he says, I just need you to take care of him. And Keefe D's like, that's no problem. That's what we do. And so an agreement was made, according to Keefe D, for an amount of money. And they kind of just let it go at that point in time. But of course, Keefe D knows in the back of his mind, this is what Puffy wants done. And they all end up out in Las Vegas. Suge's out there.
Well, before you say that, there's a couple things I want to talk about. Sure. Vegas. So when you say that Keefe got offered an amount of money, according to him, was there a dollar amount?
Yeah, so there was a dollar amount. But I think that, the nuances of this conversation are that, like, now I'll give you $1 million, whatever it takes. It's like exaggerated speech. But of course, when we interview Keefe D, he's like, yeah, that's what the agreement amount was, $1 million.
So according to Keefe, he's claiming that Puffy offered him $1 million to kill Suge or Tupac?
Both. Yeah, both their names came up. And according to Keefe D, he says, Tupac's put himself on the list by all the talking that he was doing. But it was really about Suge because it was Suge's muscle that...
The controversy surrounding Tupac also kept Diddy at the center of speculation tied to several major hip-hop events. The documentary examines how persistent rumors, whether factual or not, contributed to an era defined by tension and fascination.
Him $1 million to try to take out Tupac and Suge Knight. Investigators early on already zeroed in on Keefe D because he is the uncle of Orlando Anderson, who was the main suspect in Tupac's unaliving. During this time, they believe that Keefe D was also in Vegas, and this is things that we have heard him say over the years in his multiple interviews, and one reason why he's on trial for the unaliving of Tupac. But then investigators really started to get curious when they found out that Keefe D was at the Peterson Museum the night that Biggie was unalived. Back in 1997, at the height of this investigation, police actually raided Keefe D's house for gang activity, and they seized one of the vehicles that were at his house because it matched the Chevy Impala description of the person who drove away after Biggie was unalived.
Keefe D was a shot caller for the Southside Crips and the uncle of Orlando Anderson. It was determined that Keefe D had been in Las Vegas along with his nephew Orlando the night Tupac was shot. Additionally, Keefe D's name had come up in the original Biggie investigation when it was discovered that he was at the party at the Peterson and he had access to a Chevy Impala.
After Tupac was shot, there was rumors on the street that Bad Boy Records owed the Southside Crips $1 million.
After seizing Keefe D's vehicle and raiding his house for gang activity, this is when investigators would first try to question Keefe D if he had any involvement in Biggie's unaliving. And at this point in time, he really didn't talk, and he told them that they were barking up.
Kirk Burroughs recalled the unusual circumstances of the night Tupac was shot, including separate travel arrangements to the Mike Tyson fight, which added complexity to an already chaotic situation. The series also explores recollections of the events that followed, while emphasizing that Diddy consistently denied involvement and was never named a suspect by Las Vegas authorities.
Similar story to what I heard from somebody that I know is not, I know she's not lying. Because she had no reason to lie. First, she told me she saw somebody doing something to him, and she walked in and she thought, he didn't, he never said nothing. He didn't even acknowledge her. So she's thinking she's under the radar. Next thing, she's hanging out in Miami, and she comes back and says she don't know what happened, and she woke up, and so,
What did she say she saw?
Someone giving him head. That's as far as I'll go, and then you could do the math.
Were they famous? Did she say they were famous?
Oh, no, they wasn't famous. They was an assistant working with her. Yeah. So.
An assistant. I want to guess, but I'm not.
She didn't tell me who no, it's not somebody that you would know. It was somebody that, she came there, she worked doing photography and, some type of media work where they shot ads and things like that. They were there to work, and she walked in the wrong bathroom and caught the wrong thing.
Oh, wow.
So, she got drugged. It probably was some videotapes made to tell her to shut the hell up and don't.
Beyond that night, the documentary examines the intense rivalry between Tupac and Diddy and the scrutiny that surrounded them. It also explores Diddy's relationship with Biggie, raising questions about how genuine and uncomplicated that bond truly was. Those close to the artist suggest the reality was far more complex, revealing a mix of loyalty, ambition, and tension that continues to fuel debate decades later.